James Lynch here for Home of Fight. Happy to be joined by Mr. Syndicate MMA. You can see there the Raiders themed shirt is John Wood, who's going to be in the corner and is obviously helping out Merab Dvalishvili. Going to be defending his bantamweight title next Saturday, UFC 311 against Umar Nurmagomedov. John, how you doing, man? How's everything?
Very good, man. Everything's great. It's everything's firing on all cylinders. You know, we got a big few months ahead. It's just it's crazy, man. Things are just moving forward at a pace that's you know, it's hard to keep up with, but thankfully we've got a great crew here. You know, I just found out this morning I'm going to be sandwiching in there too between some stuff. Short notice deal with that, but excited for this you know, this title fight, this title defense, and Merab's looking great and everything's going as good as it could be.
Did you get to enjoy the holidays at all, even with this fight coming up?
Actually, my wife Joanne, her birthday is 2 days before Christmas, so we planned a while ago to do a, you know, Christmas slash birthday, you know, week. So we actually got away for the whole week. Went to the beach and had a house on the beach and got to stay there and relax. But that was my only time off, and it was kind of hectic because we had so many things going on right around there too. So I felt a little guilty about it, but it was good to get that out of the way before the chaos starts.
Yeah, recharge the batteries is always a good idea. How long of a camp have you had for this fight? Because I know the fight got announced a little bit later. I'm not sure if you knew ahead of time that this fight was going to be happening in January. Like, take me through the length of this camp and how long you've been preparing for Umar.
The day that we heard about it and the day we knew we were fighting was literally the day before it got announced. So,
oh, okay, gotcha.
You know, it was like 6-7 weeks. It was kind of a off the wall crazy occurrence. You know, it wasn't a pre-planned thing that was under wraps. You know, Rob just decided that, hey, let's go do this thing, and you know, get done with all the bullshit and the talk. And literally, the day before it was announced is when we found out. So I think it's been about a 6-7 week camp, maybe.
Nice. Okay. That's not bad. You mentioned the noise. You know, one of the things that I find kind of funny is the fight's already booked. And, you know, obviously Merab, I think if people sort of listen to what he was saying, he was basically talking about Umar, you know, maybe not deserving the opportunity in terms of who he's defeated to get this opportunity. Merab had a much harder road to get to his title shot, but we're still hearing people saying that he was ducking Umar and that he's still ducking Umar, that if, you know, if it was his way, then he wouldn't be fighting him. What do you make of that? Because obviously Merab had one of the harder roads to get to the title. I think it's kind of funny that people are taking that narrative, so to speak.
Yeah, it's very, it blows my mind sometimes that people would even say that. And I think that's more Umar fans. Merab's never ducked anybody. He's never gone away from any challenge. Like, look at his resume. It's a phenomenal body of work. And this will be another name on the resume. You know, what Merab was looking for was a little time off. You know, it had been a hard, you know, camp and a hard year. It's just looking time to go home, looking for some different things. It was never, you know, and basically, you know, Umar wanted to fight before Ramadan, and so that was pushing a time frame that we weren't really looking at wanting to do. And so people obviously, you know, it's MMA fans, and you know, everybody's going to have their opinion, and that's what makes the sport great, is everybody gets to say whatever they want to say. But the fact that anybody's saying that Merab's ducking anybody or that he doesn't want to fight. We always knew we were going to fight Umar. That was never not a thing. We just didn't want it at that time, but it's fine. This is you know, this is the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes the sport is what it is. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't work out the way you want it to exactly, but we're here to fight. It's been a great camp. Merab is not scared of anybody. I don't think that, you know, it shocks me even that he's an underdog in this fight. I think he's been an underdog in every fight, you know. With the O'Malley fight, he was the underdog. You know, coming out of it, he was the favorite, but then it flipped, and you know, you got a bunch of O'Malley fans, and the betting odds flipped, and I was blown away by that. But it is what it is. You know, I think you know, the outcome of this fight is going to be the same whether it happens now or it happens 6 months from now.
Yeah. And you mentioned, you know, obviously there's a big buildup to this fight too. I know, you know, Merab said some things. They've had the press conference already. There was the, you know, stuff at T-Mobile. Have you had to talk to Merab at all and be like, you know, kind of reel this in a little bit, have a bit of composure, or is he just sort of business as usual and that's a lot of noise that people are amplifying?
Yeah, you know, this is Merab. This is, you know, people are, is he overly emotional? Is he emotional? Is he this? Merab's an emotional fighter. Like he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's very, you know, the Georgians themselves, they're respectful, you know, prideful people. Like, this fighting thing isn't a joke. It isn't a game to them, and a lot of people, especially in this country, especially with social media, get away with saying a lot of shit and doing a lot of things, and that's not how everybody operates, and that's not how he operates. In every fight, Merab has a little emotionality to all of them, and that doesn't play into how the fight's going to go. He as long as we point it in the right direction and get to where we need to get to in the camp, which I think, man, it's been an awesome camp. He's looking great. It's no different than usual. There might be, maybe he, I'm not going to speak for him, but maybe there could be a little more bad blood or legitimate, dislike there. But it's all, in the very beginning, we had that talk of, hey, let's make sure that we're not letting it spill over into something negative, and let's keep doing it like we've done it with everybody else and pointing in the right direction. O'Malley was talking all kinds of shit before the fight. That's part of it. And Cejudo and Jan, he's an emotional guy. That's just part of the process. It's not going to be a negative. It's not going to affect him that night. We know how to turn all that stuff off. So unless something drastically different happens, I don't see it going, it'll be just fine.
And the other thing that was interesting was I remember he wanted to go to the PI and get some testing done, and they wouldn't let him in. Has there been any other incidents like that where, maybe Umar, because we know Umar's obviously doing his camp in Vegas. Has there been any other stuff like that has not necessarily disrupted camp, but just something annoying that he's had to deal with?
Yeah, there's been quite a few times he's gone over to get therapy and he couldn't. There's been a few times he's gone over to get, in the sauna. And those guys are pretty much just running the joint over there. So, there's a lot of...
Is that surprising, though, just because he's the champion? You think if anyone would get preferential treatment, it would be the guy who actually lives and trains in Vegas.
Absolutely. You would think that. But that's not how things operate. That's not how the business operates. That's not how the UFC, operates necessarily. Even having the title doesn't just necessarily get you the respect that you have earned and deserve at that point in time. Khabib, obviously, that last name carries a lot of weight, and obviously there's a lot of push behind those guys. There's a lot of money behind those guys, and that's why I see you see quite a push for Umar, even though the body, like I said, the body of work from Merab speaks for itself. But it's a little, it's disappointing in some things, but like I said, that's just part of the business, man. And you cannot be in this fight game and have your, hurt feelings. You got to put that stuff aside, because guess what? It's going to happen a lot when you've done everything you can do the right way. Some things still don't work out for you. Even training camps, you've done the best you can do, and you can go out and get knocked out in 10 seconds. It's the same thing in the business aspect. You've got to just kind of pay your dues and keep plugging along and not worry about the noise and not worry about that kind of shit. And hopefully, obviously it turns out the way you want it to turn out eventually.
Was there a reason given that he couldn't go there? Were they worried that there was going to be a fight, or was that Umar's manager maybe getting in the ear of the UFC? Was there anything you were told?
I'm assuming they're worried about altercation potentially, or, right. We don't really know. We're not given a reason. But, they shut the doors on our camp for that kind of stuff. It's, there could be multiple reasons. Who knows what behind the scenes is on that? And like I said, I don't want to speak for that, but it's kind of strange.
Yeah. Okay. What about camp itself? Anything different for this camp, or is it just, you won your last fight. Merab's been on quite the roll. Is it one of those things you keep things going the way they're going just because it's working, or do you look to add different things? Take me through sort of how you structured this camp.
Yeah, every camp you're always looking to add. The process necessarily doesn't change. We have the process down, and the process is working. So the framework of how we do a camp is what it is, and we're going to keep it that way until we need to change it. What we do inside that framework, obviously, is opponent specific. So each time, we come somebody who has a new, wrinkle that we need to figure out. Those things shift. We bring different people in. We work on different techniques. We do on different things, but the biggest thing about camps, man, is you figure out your fighter. And for me, I don't over worry so much about what the other guy is going to do as much as what my fighter needs to do and what we need to get them prepared for. Over game planning sometimes can be a fault, and it can be just as bad as good as, the game plan. It can go the wrong way. And sometimes you get left out there going, oh God, this isn't working. What do I do? So the game plan is very fluid, but obviously there's some things that, with Umar, he brings to the table that are very good and that we need to address. And we're, we're focused on those things, but not over focused to a point that we're going to take away Merab's game, that Merab's game is going to change. He's gotten better at his striking. He's gotten better at his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu, his submission defenses, everything. You're always working everything along with adding in those key elements of like, okay, we need to make sure that we don't get caught in these things or get caught up in those little areas. So it's really not like, oh my God, we got to do this different thing. It seems like here at Syndicate, we've got a lot of, the room is insane. There's 50, 60 fighters on the mat this morning for sparring, and it's just all high level guys. So there's never a lack of partners. There's never a lack of, just hard training. So we're able to bring in the right partners at the right time. And that's what's happened in all the other previous camps and happening in this camp.
Was there anyone outside of the camp that you brought in, specifically for Umar? Or has it just been the guys at your gym that he's working with?
We actually have a lot of guys coming in from other countries, and we've got a few, we got a lot of Georgians, we got a lot of Ukrainians, Chechens. And again, the right people ended up at the right time here, and we ended up snatching a couple guys and bringing them in and making sure they were here for the camp. And, we have a couple other really good wrestling grappling guys that are getting ready. Muin Kafarov is getting ready for the same card, so that worked out good. And we just, like I said, we've got an amazing room right now. So there is no, we haven't had to go out for anything. Aljo has spent a little more time working with them. They were doing sparring rounds today. So Aljo, that's obviously, former champ with a insane grappling wrestling background. So he's given some great looks and great knowledge on the mat. So super happy to have Aljo in here, with that. But man, yeah, it's been going good. It's a shorter camp than we're used to, but we're where we need to be. So that's something I've expressed to Merab, is that if the end, where we want to go, the goal is here. It doesn't matter whether we get here in 6 weeks or we get here in 10 weeks. We're there, and that's where we're at. So.
I know as a coach, you're expecting the best Umar to come in at 311, and you prepare for, the best version of him. I just a curiosity question. Have you heard these rumors about him having an injury? I guess there was an interview with ESPN, and they apparently edited some of it because he revealed that he had an injury. I just want to know if you were aware of it. Obviously, you're not banking on that in the fight because anything can happen, right?
Yeah, of course we're aware of it. Of course.
Okay, yeah.
We heard those things. We heard those things before we ever even took the fight, and that was
Okay.
part of the thing that he was injured, and we didn't even know if the fight, when we said we were going to take the fight, we didn't even know if he was healthy at that point in time from hearing those rumors. So, but yeah, you can't bank on anything like that. It's not, and I don't think that type of injury, a stress fracture or whatever they were saying he has, who really knows? I don't think that's something that's going to play into the fight or he's going to play into the camp. Or if it was, I certainly wouldn't sit here and tell you about it anyway.
No, for sure. No, I get it. Yeah.
But, yes, absolutely. We hear those things. And like I said, when we took the fight, it was such a whirlwind, crazy day. We didn't even know. We assumed no one's going to pass up that opportunity. You're crazy if you pass up an opportunity on a title shot. And so every one of these guys goes into a fight injured, banged up, busted up. If you make it to through a fight camp at that level, healthy, completely healthy, you probably haven't done enough. It just is what it is. So these guys are used to training and operating hurt. So we don't expect that. It's not something we've banked on. Expect to be a, massive thing to play out in the fight.
How do you see the fight playing out next Saturday?
I see it, playing out like they all do. This is a different. Umar is a very skilled, talented fighter in all areas. He does bring some different things to the fact that, we obviously know that he's got a great ground game, great wrestling background. He's got great stand up. He comes from a lineage that's, that's out there as one of the best. As coaches, with the people that he's trained with over the years, he's as good of a package as you can bring to the table. Whatever his rank and number, whether he's earned it or hasn't, the guy is a talented guy, and he's there and he's coming to fight. But the simple thing, like the interviews of he doesn't know how Merab is going to beat him or how he could beat him. Everybody says that. Everybody looks at Merab, and sometimes it's not the prettiest. That's okay. We want to keep it controlled chaos. We want to keep it the way it is and just keep sharpening, getting better each camp. And that's the thing, is everybody seems to sleep on Merab. Oh, this is going to be easy. Oh, this is going to be that way. I'll be able to beat him on the striking. I'll be able to, stuff his takedowns. He just has a different pace and a different cardio that just is such a big weapon. And I expect Umar to be able to deal with some of those things. But come third, fourth, fifth round, I think it's going to be a Merab fight, a basic Merab fight. Those first couple rounds are going to be, we're going to see how it plays out. It might be, I expect a hard couple rounds, but I expect Merab to do what he does and take over and put that grind and that pace on. And we fully expect we're going to get taken down. We're going to get punched. We're going to get kicked, but we're going to get back up. We're going to be okay. And it's just something that I see like being a basic Merab Dvalishvili fight, where I don't think he'll be able to keep pace. And I think that we're walking out of that cage with the belt wrapped around his waist.
What do you make of this Henry Cejudo and Zhang Yadong fight? Obviously, Merab fought Henry. Big fight for him here. Who do you see winning that? Because I think that's a really close fight on paper.
Yeah, very interesting fight. A very interesting fight. After Zhang Yadong is a hell of a banger. Got power, can knock you out. Has good takedown defense, and he's there, man. That guy's in your face. It really just depends on if Henry still has the motivation to train like he used to get back to that title shot. If Henry Cejudo at his top of his game is one of the best in the world. The guy's an Olympic athlete. He's got good striking. He's got a hell of a pace. I think it's a very close fight. It's a very good matchup, and really the game changer is going to be, like I said, if Henry comes out motivated, ready to go, and he's fired up and still has that drive to become a champion again, then you got a lot of weapons there, that he can deal with. And put you on your butt. So, like I said, if he's ready to go at firing all cylinders, I'd have to lean towards Henry. But Zhang Yadong is no joke, and man, that dude's got power. So it's a very interesting fight. It could honestly, it could go either way. I really wouldn't know who to say would be the definitive winner in that one.
Well, do you think Henry shows up though? If you had to make a prediction.
I would maybe lean, if my gut would say leaning to the Zhang Yadong, getting in, in that 5-round fight. It's a 5-rounder, right? Is that the main or co-main?
Yeah, I believe it is the co-main event. Yeah, or sorry, the main event, not co-main. Yeah.
So in a 5-rounder, I think maybe Song's going to be the guy that walks out with that one.
Who do you think gets the winner of this fight? Do you think they'll do the Piotr Jan rematch if Merab comes out on top, and they'd be willing to do that? Because I don't really know who else is on like a win streak right now in the weight class that could fight the winner of this.
Jan would make the most sense.
Yeah.
But again, sometimes sense doesn't always
prevail. Yeah.
Yeah. So I could definitely see a rematch with O'Malley.
Right.
I really could see them throwing that. Obviously O'Malley's a golden boy. He's got a big following, and we'll take that all day long. I don't think that ends up any different, other than we probably finish him in the second, a second go around. But I think they really, really have a big push for O'Malley, and I could see that happening over Peter.
Is Weili Zhang going to be working with you for her fight with Tatiana? Obviously, that's coming up here pretty soon.
So, we definitely talked about it. She chose to stay on that side of the world and stay on the time frame, and she's doing her camp in Thailand. And we talked about going out there, but with everything that's come up, I think right now we have 7 or 8 just UFC camps. I think we've got like 26 camps going on between now and then, between all of us, something like that. And it's just hard to get away for that kind of time frame. And they really like a lot of hands-on training, and it would, I just didn't want to go out there and not be able to do what I could, do for them. And they've got a great camp going on with the Hickman Bros at, Bang Tao, and I hear things are going great. And I keep in contact with them, and it looks like, it's a short notice fight just got announced for one of my guys. So it looks like I'm going to be out there anyways. But it just didn't pan out. But I've talked to him and kept contact with the camp and the coaches, and hopefully we get to work again. But with Merab's fight coming up, there was just no way to get out there.
Last question. Got to talk a little hockey. Your thoughts on the Golden Knights this season? I think they've been playing really well. And have you been to any games this year?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've been to a ton of games. I'll probably go. There's a game tonight, actually, I think, but I don't think I'll be going. Okay. That's no way. So Thursday's the next home game. I'll probably go to that one.
Yeah.
Man, I honestly, think that they're making a cup run again this year. They look
Yeah.
so good. They're so deep. Every line, all the way to the fourth line, you got scores. You have got, every line is scoring. The guys are so phenomenal, and it's a complete team. We don't have a set. You got Jack Eichel and Mark Stone, and captain assistant, that are leading the way, but we just don't have one star. We got a bunch of really good players that are all playing well together, and it feels like it did when we made that cup run. And it's hard to do, but man, they're just, when they're on, I just don't see who's going to beat them. We beat every top team out there. We've handled every, Edmonton, Winnipeg, all the top guys in the league. We beat them, and we beat them handily. And I think that, yeah, I think we're going back to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, it feels like a different season compared to last year. I think even just looking at the team, the balance, like everything seems to be kind of jiving. I know there were some injuries last year that kind of, threw things off a bit, but you're not really getting that this year. You've been relatively healthy, which is great.
Well, I think the players that we brought in last year,
Hannafin especially, I think he's been a great fit for you guys. Yeah,
it's just been great. Hurdle and Hannafin and a couple of the guys we brought in are killing it. And I'll tell you this, I think that the Vegas Golden Knights by far have the best front office. We've seen players come, we've lost stars, we've lost, technically the heart of our team this year with Marshall Salt going on to Nashville. And they haven't missed a beat. So these guys clearly know what we're doing, and it's awesome to be a hockey fan in Vegas, and it really is a hockey town. And yeah, man, I love going to the games. We go probably every week to at least one. So it feels good, man. I can't wait to be back for the Cups, hopefully getting that Cup final again.
John, thanks for doing this. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here? I'll give you the last word.
Oh, man, just, come see us at Syndicate MMA sometime, and just keep an eye on all the boys and girls that are fighting here. It's going to be another great year for us.